it is possible. However, here's why it doesn't usually happen. Today, we are having a conversation about the truth about being a part-time real estate agent. We're going to get into what it looks like in a good way, I guess you could say, what it looks like to do this wrong, why part-time agents a lot of times do not succeed in real estate, and my honest opinion, the honest truth about being a part-time real estate agent in real estate today, in today's market in 2025. I think that the very end, my honest answer, it might not be what you're expecting to hear. It might surprise you. So be sure to stay tuned until the very end today. You are not gonna want to miss anything. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Mariah, and I come on here every week with new videos. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss anything. I have my green tea today, so grab your beverage of choice and let's get right into it. By the way, I have taken the time to think through like what it is that I wanted to share with you guys on this topic today. Wrote it out in the notes section of my phone, and I printed it on my beautiful printer. So if I am reading off at all, I'm not gonna memorize it. That's why. Okay. But still value packed, still important things that I think that you as a viewer need to hear. So don't go anywhere. Let's just have a conversation about this. Okay. What I wanted to talk about today is basically having a conversation about comparing your business to anyone else's, or something I've done for many, many years, comparing your business to the idea of what you have been told a successful real estate business has to look like, which I will explain what I mean by that in a minute here, / just giving you permission to run a successful business and set whatever goals for your business fit into your life, your ideal life, I guess we should say, because that's what we're talking about today, not just your life, your ideal life, and not setting goals for your business because it's what you think success as a real estate agent looks like. For the longest time in my real estate business, I thought that I either needed to have this really big goal of selling a huge number of houses or just be completely out of the business, because if I wasn't having that goal of selling this huge number of houses, then that was it. Like there was no in between. And anything besides that was just failing, until I allowed myself to really ask that question of, does the day of somebody who sells 50 plus homes a year, okay, is that really my ideal day? Is that really my dream life? We have so many real estate coaches, real estate gurus on all platforms preaching to us that you can't be a part-time agent. And I'll explain what I mean by a part-time agent, because there is a way of being part-time that I do not think is a good idea. So we'll talk about that. But being a part-time agent is always a bad idea. You hear that a lot, and you're a horrible agent. You shouldn't be taken seriously. If you're not in the office at 9 a.m. working like 9 to 5, treating it like that, you shouldn't be in the business. But guys, I do think that one of the reasons it's actually more realistic than ever to be a part-time agent in this day and age and actually run a successful, lucrative, money-making business. Yes, you're not just being a part-time agent and not working, but like actually making money. I really think one of the reasons why this is actually a really realistic thing right now is because things have changed, which we'll talk about that as well. So when I first got my real estate license, I was 18. It was 2015. I just graduated high school, and my business came pretty much all from cold calling, door knocking, things that required me to be out of the house all day, driving from town to town, so much driving. And then of course, all of the hours and hours and hours of follow-up that came with that type of prospecting. And really nobody was doing video marketing, versus now it is actually realistic to be, making a video in my kitchen that's going to bring me clients, or making a video like I just did last week, exploring a new like touristy thing in my town, I guess you could say, or town near where I live, and videoing it while my family's with me, or making a video in my kitchen while my family's with me, or I'm at home with my family. And then that video goes to work and brings clients to me without having to actually leave my house. I don't think that was realistic even back in 2015 when I was a new agent. That just wasn't happening. But nowadays, that is a legit way to run your real estate business successfully. You can realistically sell enough houses working less than part-time hours as a real estate agent. Depending on, of course, the market you're in, your average price point, you may be able to make a really great living selling only one home a month, or even a home every other month, depending on the market, your average price point, where you're living. That is not at all time consuming, selling that many houses. It is possible, okay? However, it is possible. However, here's why it doesn't usually happen. Here is why, from my observations, why that's not usually the case. Why, the average realtor mom who has their license because they want some sort of a side hustle while they stay home with their kids and eventually scale their business. Here's why that person, that demographic, often ends up just not selling any houses at all. It's because you don't treat it like a business. Even if you're working less than part-time hours, even if your goal is to sell one home a month, if you want to actually sell one home a month, you still need systems in place for your business. You still need structure for your business. You need consistency. You need a schedule. I would even argue that this lifestyle where, you're selling 1 or 2 homes at a time and staying home with your kids, still living a super slow life like I am, homeschooling my daughter, all of those things, you need to run, and I'm talking to myself because this is what I have to do to make it work, is I have to run my entire household in a way like a business. And that does not mean super strict, rigid schedules, but you do need rhythms, routine, and consistency if you want to make this work, or your life will just be so scattered. Either it'll be scattered and you're running around not having any peace in your home life, or you'll be wondering why you're not selling any houses at all. Because the thing is, we might look at that goal of selling, 1 or 2 houses at a time as a stay-at-home mom, for example, and say that's a super small goal, business plan, anyone can do that. No, that's actually not true. You still need consistency in your follow-up, in your lead generation, your marketing, and I will say in all areas of your life and your business for it to actually become this picture of a slow yet beautiful and lucrative business life, or just like lifestyle, if that's the life you're trying to build. If no one's told you, I'm telling you right now, you do have permission to make a goal or have your goal be selling 12 homes a year, and that still is a legit business to be taken seriously. Or you still do have permission to sell 6 homes a year if that's your goal, to make a goal of selling 6 homes a year. And that is just as much of a successful business if that is your goal as selling 100 homes a year and having zero control over your time. Here's something though that is actually really important, is that I do need to add, no matter how part-time you decide to work, no matter how few hours you decide to work, I would say I work on my real estate business far less than part-time hours. However, with that being said, your business is an extension of your life. That doesn't mean that you have to pick up the phone at, 10 p.m. or bend over backwards to meet a super high maintenance client's wishes, but it does mean you have to be flexible. So while I do, like I said, work less than part-time hours in my real estate business, I am very flexible with my real estate business. I am also always answering my phone. I always am happy to get back to clients quickly. I have consistency in my schedule when it comes to prospecting, lead generating, and marketing. I treat it like a business. And I do, I am okay with leaving the house after I put my daughter to bed and going to show a house if it's still sunny out. Like, I'm okay with doing that. I'm okay with going back and forth from teaching my daughter to read at our kitchen table to getting back to clients to going on a play date and scheduling a showing or looking up a house for someone. Like, you do need flexibility. Like, it is an extension of your business. You can't have that like, oh, well, no one's going to contact me. Like, you can't have that mindset. So I guess, I don't know. It's hard to calculate like how much do you really work, because I don't count like getting back to people, looking up houses. Like, I don't count that as work, but is it? I don't know. But I guess the whole point in saying this is it is a lifestyle, okay? And if you want that picture, which I know I want, of slow days, especially slow mornings, lots of family time, lots of time freedom, you want to travel, you want to live like a tourist in your own area with your family, like my family and I have been doing, we've been literally picking a new place, like basically every week. Last week we went to a city about an hour away from us and saw some really cool things. Yesterday we went on a 5.5 mile hike about 45 minutes away that we'd never been to before. Like, we're just trying out so many new things and having fun experiences throughout the week as a family. If you want to be able to live that way, you still need to have routine and consistency and systems in your business, because it doesn't just happen. Well, I said I would talk about the kind of part-time agent I think is a good thing and the kind of part-time agent I think is a bad thing. I think it is more than okay and more than possible, I guess you could say, to be a part-time agent, meaning that you are spending less than part-time hours or part-time hours on your real estate business and still make an awesome living while doing that. It is okay. It is possible. It takes a lot of intentionality, and it does take discipline in all areas of your life. However, it's possible, and it's worth it. The type of part-time agent that I'm talking about, because I always respond in a timely manner. It doesn't mean I'm certainly not glued to my phone. I have so many boundaries with my phone, especially because I run my entire business from my phone, and like literally all the money my husband and I make in our life is on our phones. So we have to have really strong boundaries with our phones. With that being said, though, I still have systems in place that help me get back to people in a very timely manner, whether it's agents I'm talking to, which if you're an agent and you're, with me at Real Broker, I love chatting with you. Never feel bad about reaching out. I'm always super happy to talk with you. That is part of my business, is sponsoring agents at our company, which is something I love doing. If you're curious about that, I have an entire playlist on my channel called Real Brokerage Explained. Go find it on my channel homepage. But that's an extension of my business. But also I'm always like happy to get back to clients, buyers and sellers, that type of thing. So I am always available, although I'm not always like out there working or at an office. But I do think the type of part-time agent that wouldn't be such a good idea is if you have another job, like you say you have a full-time job and you have no plans of becoming a full-time agent. You just want to do real estate on the side. I don't think that's necessarily the smartest thing. You probably can't get back to your clients in a timely manner while you're at your other job. And there's obviously some circumstances where you can make it work. I think that's an okay idea if your plan is to only have real estate as your business, as your job. Otherwise, I don't necessarily think that's the best way to be a part-time agent. Okay. So if you are listening to this video and you are a real estate agent, I would love to hear a couple of things. Let me know either what market are you in? I'd love to hear what market you're in the comments, or let me know, what is your goal? How many homes do you want to sell this year? Is it 15, 20, 100? Is it 12? Whatever that is, let me know in the comments section. I love chatting with you guys. Let's cheer each other on in the comments, maybe even pass some referrals back and forth. Let us know what market you're in. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell because I come on here every week with new episodes, and I will see you guys next time.